Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about my OC, Zarani Woodburn. She's the first OC that I made that had a completely filled out backstory. I will end up cutting a bit of it short as it does involve some not so YouTube friendly themes. I'll start now with how I conceived her. So a friend and I used to write this book and she was the main villain in it, so she was the big bad evil person. This is still mostly true, but nowadays she's a little more in the gray. I was talking with a different friend and I was wondering about names, and they happened to just blurt out Zarani. I liked it enough, and Zarani was named. She went through many different, really, really awful designs. Please keep in mind, I was really young when I started to make her. Eventually, I stopped writing the book with the first friend, and another friend and I picked it up about a year later. When that friend dropped out of writing it, I took hold of it and began to write it on my own. Zarani went from being a two-dimensional character to I hope, a 3D character with growth and motives instead of just a big bad evil lady. Now let's dive into her stupidly complicated background that changes every so often, so once a month. Zarani was born to King William and Queen Anna, and her mother died during labor. King William desperately wanted a son, so he never liked Zarani, and since he's an awful father, he neglected her. So she was mostly raised by servants and teachers, and maids, and, palace goers, because apparently the king didn't want anything to do with his own daughter. She was a very talented magic wielder, but this still could not get her father's attention. And when she turned 5, King William married her stepmother, Queen Lavender. Zarani at first did not like Queen Lavender, but as she grew up, she really liked Lavender. Lavender provided King William with 2 sons. One was named Aaron, and the other was named Jameson, who was younger than Aaron by 5 years. When she turned 14, she met a human boy named Synth. Now, Synth grew up until he was 10 on the human side of the continent, so he was not used to the elven customs. Zarani took a liking to Synth, and soon they became inseparable. During Zarani's first ball, she made an absolute fool of herself. Lavender decided that Synth would be going to every ball to keep Zarani out of trouble. Luckily for Lavender, this worked. Zarani seemed to have wisened up and stopped drinking as much at every ball. When Zarani turned 18, she was racing Synth to a lake called Icefeather Lake, and she fell through the ice. She got a hip fracture and something so fun. Since this world has magic in it, when people die by falling into Icefeather Lake, the lake claims their soul, and if someone survives falling in, like Zarani, they hear the voices of those who have died. So Zarani, the lucky lady, now hears voices all the time, and during her recovery, the voices tell her that Synth is planning to ruin her goals at becoming the commander of the Elven army. Zarani desperately wants that title, so she eventually exiles Synth after he also does some crappy things that hinder her ability to become the commander. He drugs her with this thing that removes all of her powers and gets rid of her voices temporarily. Eventually, during an especially bad drought and famine, Zarani sends a letter to King August of the Human Kingdom, asking for more land. The king denies her, and she waits another year, but it only gets worse. So she sends out another letter asking again, but he again replies no. After sending another letter, 6 months later, he still says no, and in a desperate attempt to help her people, she asks the voices for help. They tell her about an evil spell that will give her people a fighting chance, and so she performs it, removing her left hand's ring finger and losing a lot of her own blood. She gives her people stronger magic and a stronger being. They also get horns, but most get tails, not horns. Also, by doing this, she becomes a revered person and gains the title Creator. I'm editing this. I don't like it a lot, but it is important to why everyone is so obsessed with Zarani. So eventually, after like a year, she sends out another letter, and she's like, okay, hey, I kind of need you to really give us land now, because like a lot of my people are dying, like more than before. And because the king sucks, he's like, no. Fed up with this, Zarani decides to go to the human side of the continent and confront King August in person, and she ends up killing him, starting a giant war called the Creator War. Don't worry, we are getting close to the end of her backstory, I swear. Okay. After Zarani kills a baby, she has conquered half of the continent, providing her people with more land to grow crops on and more water sources to use. If you've watched my Just a Man video, you've seen the baby that Zarani killed. I hope I don't have to explain this to people, but don't kill babies. It kind of messes you up in the head. It messed up Zarani a little more in the head than before. Oh, someone's mowing their lawn outside. Sorry. Where are we? Oh, crap. Oh, man, I lost my place. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Eventually, she gets a letter from Synth, and in it, he talks about how he wishes to talk to her again and explain himself for his past actions. Begrudgingly, she answers his letter and provides temporary immunity to him so that he can enter the country. When she does meet up with him at Lake Icefeather, they have a good discussion. She explains that she regrets killing King August, but her people needed the land, and he apologizes for what he did to her. And as she turns to leave, confident with their final conversation, he stabs her with a powerful drug. The one that he used on her before, the one that stopped her from becoming the commander as quickly. And after some hurtful words said by her in return to his betrayal, she passes out and wakes up 500 years later in the lake. She, roughly 4 years later, decides to march on to the human kingdom again, because the drought that King Aaron, was dealing with, got worse than, he was anticipating. So she sends a letter to, the president of the human kingdom, and he's like, no. So she realizes where this is gonna go, so she decides to just bite the bullet and go there in person and try and, figure it out in person, see if, maybe even if it were temporary, if they could just get a little bit of land with more access to fresh water, because they have a lot of, salt water, but, you know what, salt water is not really good for drinking, which you'll notice. If you ever try to drink salt water, I would not recommend it, it's pretty gross. So she goes there, and she's chatting with, the president, being all friendly to his people, and, the president's like, yeah, sorry, no, we aren't going to give you any land because you don't deserve it because you guys all suck and you keep on starting fights with, the humans. And Zarani's like, no, that's not true. You guys have been starting fights with us. You know, you could have just given me the land in the past, and you were like, no, but you guys owned most of the continent back then. So she gets a little annoyed with him, and when she's like, okay, come on, let's talk about this like civilized people. Just give me the land, and you know what? It doesn't even have to be forever. It can just be until we get back on our feet. And the president is, again saying no. So she gets a little annoyed with him, and she kills him. I must say, Zarani is really prone to killing people. I would not recommend any of you guys kill anyone. It will not go well for you. Zarani is kind of untouchable. Because she is a fantasy character. Don't kill people. You are not invincible. I mean, neither is Zarani, luckily. So she escapes and runs through the city and meets Silva, beats up Silva, and starts the incantation to turn Silva into a demon. And Silva manages to stop her halfway through it, meaning that Silva's transformation will be like a slow transformation. It won't be like instant, like Zarani's other ones. So like the first time she did it. She manages to get out with very minimal casualties from her own army. And she goes back to the demon side of the continent, and she tells King Aaron what happened, and he's not happy with her, so they have an argument about it, but he does end up forgiving her, because he knows that she was just trying to get land for their people, and that she did not want it to end in a bunch of bloodshed. So, you know what, he sucks it up. He's like, okay, you know what, well, I can deal with this later. I'm watching the line art right now, sorry. Zarani is very tied in with water. That's kind of her whole thing. Because she fell into the lake and stuff, so you're gonna see me, I've done water effects before, but I couldn't remember exactly how I did them. So, give me a moment here. I'm trying to draw thumbs up there. I forgot how thumbs work. I have I like drawing the water effects, but I really don't like cleaning them up. I'll clean them up in just a minute. I kind of figured out how to make them look good. Where was I? Oh, yes. Alright, so Aaron forgives Zarani for starting a war. I don't think that he should, but you know what? I'm writing this book, so... And also, he's a pushover. So, it's fine. That's where I'm going to end with her backstory. So, now I'm going to answer some things that I don't believe I covered. One sec, let me get there. Let me get to my poor script. So Zarani does not know that Silva is related to her, like, at all. Silva's her great niece. I don't exactly know if there's, like, a specific word for that. But it's what I've been going with, so let's hope that there isn't. Because that'll make me seem really stupid. But Zarani does not know at all that Silva is related to her. She does admit that they do look really similar. But that's about it. Zarani's father stepped down from the throne when her youngest half-brother, Jameson, died in a horse riding accident, which left King Aaron in charge. King Aaron elected Zarani for the position commander, that he gave her that role. But King William is not happy about that. If you guys think that King William deserves any forgiveness, just wait until Synth's video, because I'm gonna go into how crappy he is. So King William was awful. He wasn't a good person by any means, and it really shows in how he treated his family. He was awful to Queen Anna and Queen Lavender, and of course to Zarani. He does not deserve forgiveness, and he totally deserved what happened to him. He got tried for treason. I'll go into why in Sin's video, and sentenced to hang by his own son. Thank you for listening to the backstory part of this. I'm going to talk a little bit about the art now. So the art, like I said earlier, she's very, like, water is her main thing, but I ended up losing the color that I used for the multiply layer on top of everything. So, and I was lazy. I did not want to go back in and find it. I ended up changing the size of the blood, of the blood highlight in a little bit. So here I'm adding in the highlights in her eyes. If you guys are wondering how I do it, I have a multiply layer, which is what I'm on right now, and you're going to see me edit it. So I have that multiply layer, and then I erase a little bit, and in the same color as whatever the light, whatever color I want, like, your attention to be drawn to, I erase on the multiply layer, and then underneath the layer I add in an add layer, which is just a layer with the add layer type, and that gives it like a glow. Adding in the shadows on her eyes right now. I think I did pretty good with this piece. I really like it. I like drawing Zarani. She's a fun character to draw. She's pretty simple, so I can just kind of zone out and draw her. You're gonna see me edit the blood and the shadow. I think I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching if you got this far. If you have any questions about Zarani, feel free to ask them. Yep, I don't really have anything more to say. I'm gonna go take a nap. Goodbye.